Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. You got the Lady Hippie here. We are at the bar, as you can tell from the movement of the screen. I do all the work around here, I wear all the hats. And it is for entertainment purposes only. I need to stress, and it is my opinion only. I'm not quoting someone else. I don't drop other videos unless asked, so forth and so on. If you do like it, if you don't like it, put your comments in there, hit those little messages that tell me, oh, shut the hell up, or yeah, not that I was going to say that, but just said it for me. That works too. Do not make any money doing this. However, I am not averse to making money doing this. But so far, it's just been an eye opener. I'm still on Facebook, I should say, but I haven't been there much in the past 9 months because I've been out doing these. And generally, I tell everybody I don't edit these, but sometimes I do. It's rather odd. For one thing, I'm speaking to a screen. I see myself. Can't see you guys. When I go into the edit processes, I put it up on a bigger screen. Of course, I'm old. I can't see as well. Not talking to a fish, but I do talk to a lot of cats. So, shout out to AJ and Echo Fish on the White Files. Love you guys. One of my go-tos. Definitely subscribe. You will not be sorry you did so. I've been a subscriber for a long time, and I just adore him. And of course, Hecklefish. For those of you who haven't seen it, dash in there. It's really good. It's a very good channel on YouTube. I call this one Social Woodstock. We get to say and do whatever we want, whatever we please. Well, a little bit. A little bit. If you go above board, which I have a tendency to do, as you can tell, ramble on, they will take you down. It is a free enterprise. It is free speech to an extent, meaning it's not free speech. In case anybody had that confused look. It's not free speech. If they can censor you, it's not free speech. It means you say what they want you to say, and if you go about, anywhere across that line, nobody will probably ever hear from you again. So, again, I started out on Facebook. It was like a journal to me. That way, the family and friends could keep in touch with us. I love this, being an Army veteran from the 70s, which is why you see Lady Hippie in the description. I do talk about anything and everything. If you want to join in, we've got live chat. Again, I used to do this with Facebook. I treated it as a journal because that way, again, the family and friends would know what I was doing. I mean, I would stop on a break and I type 148 words a minute. So, yeah. And I always had a big laptop and it had a little desk and everything. So, I mean, and then, of course, I have my other areas of expertise. My grandson says I still have a dinosaur because I have one of the old monitor computers. I love that thing. I can play ping pong on it. It doesn't take much to excite me these days. I love this shirt. It's just the cutest little thing. Just got this, and when I saw it, I remember I had a black silk one with like the blue overtones would have been a little bit more pink with the black. Lovely shirt, and I just hadn't bought any. I called them the Mandarin color, but I don't know what they call. I do like them, and today I'm on casual, and you can dress up. Even a pair of slacks you're cleaning in with a lovely blouse. And usually I do try to dress as if I'm going out in public because I kind of am on here. And I haven't been on Facebook as much as if I can close this thought for everybody. Because again, I've been up here and edit takes a lot longer than I thought. And it's a rather nerve wracking to watch yourself on a 70-inch screen, what have you. Depend if I'm in my the master bedroom, it's like only a 58 or something, but it's still like hey, you're on TV. So you get a little bit paranoid after a while, and then suddenly it doesn't bother you anymore. But I can't understand why actors don't watch their own movies. Yeah, and so I try to avoid that process as much as I can by editing sometimes on my smaller Chromebook, things like this. Then it kind of got to where I didn't have time to do a full edit, to kind of flash through. It's good to go because again, it's entertainment purposes only. If you like it, share, subscribe, tell your friends. It's free. It's social Woodstock. Maybe I should add that to the description. subscription to the description. It's still early for me. I switched to orange juice though because I had a stiffener, which also explains the discrepancy in those two words. I do speak English as a first language, but not very well. So when I got ready to fire y'all up this morning, and we are working towards afternoon now, I see. First thing I got up, and I have laptops, I have Chromebooks, I have tablets, I have mini computers, I have a smartphone, which does all of that. One of my mini computers is which my my grandson named it that. Besides the one that I play ping pong on, still has Windows experience on there. Windows XP, AOL shit, man. Two printers. I finally got I got rid of the dot matrix some time back, but I have the laser printer, and my husband decided I needed a new one. It worked fine, but it was old. He said so. So he bought me a new Chromebook, bought me a new printer, and I'm still not doing anything with the printers lately. Yes, I started this tutorial. My husband lets me have these. I'm not supposed to smoke. It's my little cigars. I call them little cigaritos, which is actually two ways of saying little. So little cigaritos, right? It's little, and cigaritos means little cigar. Yeah, I don't know why I do these things. So when I did power up, I saw that my hair is like flat one way and too bouncy the other. It's stormy here. We're getting the remnants of the hurricane that hit Louisiana and a cat too. And so, but first thing I notice, your messages all pull up, or it does on my Chromebooks, and I tend to stick with my newest Chromebook. And I mean, let's put it this way: I had to dump 10,800 and some odd e-files from email, and that was just like in a week. So I'm like, can't wait to a Gmail. And my poor system is going, you sure you want to dump this? I know there's somebody, some AI in there going, bitch is crazy. I digress. And so I noticed first off that YouTube had to take down my broadcast, and I thought they might because the last 2 or 3 days I've pretty much been in there going, you got to stop the migration shit. It sucks. You got your own people that you're taking the taxpayer money from living in the street, not a hotel. If you're going to put jokers up in a hotel for 6 months, you need to start with your homeless at home, not with the immigrants, not with the migrants, not with the asylum seekers. But so they may take this one down as well. I'm going to try to veer off that track. This is why through the fact that I have Facebook, I hadn't been on it lately. I'm doing this because this way they can see me live. They don't have to go through Facebook and see, read through 15 hours of me. I'm cleaning the house. I've done this. I've done it. It's just the way I treated it. And then this year come along, and my son and my husband bought me a starter webcast system. My husband knew I wanted the golden mic, so he got that for me. And my son, like I said, they both got these for Christmas. So I was determined to get up and do this. I had said I wanted to, and hence the two systems. So I have, a system microphone and everything for a guest, and then I have my own with my golden mic. But it is all me. So excuse me. Yeah, I'm doing everything. Probably not very well, but I'm doing everything. And again, I love the blouse. It's such a thin, but it's a stretchy type material. I love these things they come out with lately. I mentioned I had one before, and it was silk, and I wore it to just about rags. I loved it, and the color stayed very well with it. And so with this piece, I believe. I put my blue diamond on to accentuate it a little bit, and threw some gold and diamond earrings on. My husband bought me. I love this. It's an emerald watch with diamonds and set in gold. It's really lovely. He spoils me right. He really does. That or he's afraid I might divorce him and get all the money. I'm laughing because we have no money. We've never had money. Even if we were to turn in all my jewelry, which I agree would be a lot of work because there's a lot of it, it still wouldn't net any significant amount. You might be able to pay your rent. or your mortgage. It depends. Excuse me. And yes, I do keep fidgeting. As I mentioned, we have the storm system here finally from the Cat 2 that struck in Louisiana yesterday, or is it the day before? I think it's 2 days ago. Usually I stay on top of these things, but again, referencing back to the point, I haven't been keeping up with everything. I'm sorry. Yeah, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. So I hadn't been keeping up. Had gotten, I love this. I had just gotten this. I just ordered it and it came in. It's perfect fit. I love these guys and I can't not. Sorry, I'm not going to advertise who they are. You have to, if you private message me or even in the comments, I'll give you the information if you'd like it. These are not expensive. This is the thing I love about this company. You have to wait. Yes, I believe they're out of China. Yes, they are. So you have to give yourself, say, 2 weeks to a month at the very least to get the brokered item. And I started being one of their consumers back well before the pandemic. So for about 8 years, I think, I've picked up most of the clothing that I like to wear from them. I love the vintage 50s dresses, and I have many. I have many, many. And I was able to find the crinolines and so forth, slips that go beneath and the hoops and so forth. One of my favorite Halloween costumes is Queen Victoria. It's a gorgeous gown. It's very dark blue with black accents, almost like this would be reversed. And I actually went from a photograph of Queen Victoria about 7 years before her death, so around 1900, 1899, I guess. And she was wearing, she stayed in mourning for her husband Albert for the rest of her life, and she was only 40 when he passed away. And that's why I like to see a good widow. Not that I think my husband deserves it, but it is the honorable thing to do. Yes, I would miss him terribly. So yes, this is what I said, a lovely costume. It's got the big skirts, and instead of wearing the hoop skirts, I tend to wear the crinolines beneath it because it's more of a sashay look. You can get around and things like that. Because I used to go with my granddaughter trick or treat. She's outgrown it, so I just go by myself because I've never outgrown Halloween. I never intend to. It's the one day you can be anybody you want to be. So I chose Queen Victoria with the top hat type look, with the fall of the black say crinoline look, with feathers and roses, also done in black, and it's a flat top. Uh, Type hat, like a top hat, but it's much smaller. And I have the lace gloves that go up, and it's fun. It's a great gown, and I've worn it. I mean, considering what I paid for it, and then I adjusted it. I order things like that in a bigger size, so that if they need adjusting, they can be adjusted quite easily. If I do it the other way, they really can't be. And so I did alter her and bring her in a little bit. I may have to take some of the stitches out. I think in the younger, but it's like I said, it's the black, almost blue. It just shimmers. The material is wonderful, so you just share around. And this reminds me of these things. Again, I broke into this because I was trying to say, look, they've got some great stuff. You may have to wait a while, but you can probably figure out who I'm talking about, or you can ask me in the comments and I'll let you know. It's a very good company. They have changed names in the past, I say 2 years. But the lovely things I pick up from them are still the same. I love the fans I get from them. They're just beautiful fans, and I use a hand fan, a lot. I have since back when they called the women pause the menopause, so a long time. And so I really just kind of wanted to get up here today and say, okay, I've pissed off YouTube again. You can see cats everywhere around me. I have suddenly become an old woman who's a cat lady. Don't ask me. You can't make this shit up. I'm just saying. And so, yes, today I'm just going to banter around. If I see anybody come up on live channel, I'll answer you real quick. If not, throw it in the comments, and hopefully I'll get to you in the next 24 hours, which is, again, winding back to Facebook. Guys, if you see me, this is why I've been on Facebook much. I don't have but a limited amount of time. You wouldn't think so because I'm retired. You would think I would have all the time in the world. No, I don't. I don't. And I take more time than I should, hence my referring to the editing process. So maybe if I slow down my roll a little bit. I'm in one of those happy moods today. Probably all the shopping I've been doing. And I do love this new blouse. It just came yesterday. And the lovely little pendant, which you really can't see as well. And I like to camouflage these a little bit. These are blue stone roses. You can see just a bit of the silver there and the diamond accent. It's really cute. And maybe I should have put it on the white rose. I just kind of got through fast because I got a lot of work to do, whether I want to admit it or not. And so, yes, they did take me down, and I don't want to make them mad again. So I'm just going to say to anyone who's listening, anybody who sees me, hey, what's up? Come talk to me. I've got a microphone, everything for any guest who wants to come. I would love to hear from everybody. Bring it. This is Social Woodstock, and I don't know how long I'm going to have it. I can't say that this is going to be indefinite for sure. It's something we should use to speak to each other in the world about current events, paranormal, name it. I love all the above. And this is probably why they don't want me to smoke. Jim and I smoke. If I am going to smoke a little bit, I smoke outside. And for some reason, I'm talking really fast today. It makes me jittery some days to get up here again, as I mentioned, the editing. Because if I do that, say in the past 2 days, when I pop up here to speak to you, I feel like there's this big talking head that should just shut up and go off. So, but again, it's entertainment purposes only. We'll give it a shot. I didn't say it was a good shot. I just said a shot. My husband buys my little cigars for me. Again, sometimes if I'm jittery, I'll light one of those instead of using, and I still vape. Yes, I've been vaping since I actually quit smoking cigarettes. We'll make that a little bit clearer. 5 years ago. And my son came to see me the other day, and he was the one who showed me how to get the machine and all that to roll my own, because cartons of cigarettes had gone to $40. Robert had already quit because he was dealing with cancer. I wasn't too far behind him, but I went through the rolling process myself because it was only about $50 a month versus $300 a month, even buying cartons. And so that was a long time thing. And he's actually gone up another 2 machines, I think, from when I quit. In any event, he stopped by and he said, "Hey, Mom," gave me a hug. And he's got this monster truck. I have to have a ladder to get in the thing. I mean, I haven't even climbed into it yet. I just said, "Yeah, that's nice." So he stops and he has a cigarette while he's talking to me, and he gives me one for later. He's so cute. He's 45. He's still a little boy, but to me, he's still my baby. But I have grown grandchildren, so it's hard to say that. And so, I knew he doesn't want me to smoke around him. He was very happy to see that I quit, very worried about me. Turned out I was coughing up a lot of blood. I mean, incessantly, could not stop. And it hit me during the holidays. And somehow I hid it all the way through till after the first of the year. And then it was like, okay, I can't stop. I need to go to the hospital. So that was fun. So I'm pushing my luck. And I've learned a few things that are interesting about natural remedies, herbal remedies. I've learned that cayenne pepper, yarrow tea, and yarrow tea is really rough to drink. It's a nasty taste, but it will seal off blood vessels. So for me, it was being aggravated by smoking a cigarette or a lot of cigarettes. And hopefully I don't push that luck, but I have one time in the 6 years, 5, 6 years that since I quit, and this is why I keep yarrow tea, that I actually coughed up some more blood one morning. It wasn't incessantly doing it like before, but it was time to stop. So I took, the week and a half, 2 weeks break, even from my little cigars, and did a lot of drinking of the yarrow tea, turmeric, and so forth to get better. And because they don't help you in a hospital, they just keep you in a charge or insure whoever. I mean, if they helped you, somebody cure these things. There was the thing I saw, and they'll probably take this down too, but I saw, and it was on YouTube, that a guy, I think it was 1939, I can't remember. It might have been 59. Oh, my hair. Yeah, it's just doing what it wants. I have the headbands on because I can't keep my headphones from here unless I have a headband. Plus, it keeps the hair out of my eyes when cleaning. Anyway, I think it was 1939 that a gentleman using the new type of like sound equipment that he invented, this, that, and the other, was curing cancer. And I can't exactly describe what the machines were doing, but you can probably find it. I mean, it's on YouTube. If not, send me a comment or something, and I'll make sure to load up the link for you. Um, at first, this was, and it was 1939, or it was back then. I mean, it was back in the early 20th century. And there were several people that got in on it, backers, I'm assuming, things like this. The AMA wasn't happy. The American Medical Association was not happy. And I'm not sure what kind of pressure they applied. I mean, it was kind of glossed over as well on what I was watching. But the upshot to me was they had learned how to cure cancer almost 100 years ago, and they squashed it. I mean, the man had filed for a patent, obviously, or the government wouldn't have been involved. And again, they may take it down today, but it's not just my video that's saying that. And they can take that how they want. All of us know, most of us anyway, in the baby boomer section, and hippie, I like the little hippie a little bit better, have seen and heard of people who, one guy turned used water for gasoline instead. And he had like a little rocket car, and he was just using water. I believe he was killed in a car accident. But the upshot is, whatever they invent, they're either, vilified until they give up and go bankrupt, which is what the doctor had to the doctor who had apparently invented a way to kill cancer. There's no money in curing any disease. The money is in managing the disease. And these are the same lobbyists that I've been screaming about that go to Washington. There's not an honest politician out there. Maybe Tom Cotton. I mean, I like him. He's a veteran. He's new there, but I think they just will you down. I mean, in some cases, anyway, you may go out there and you may want to save the world kind of thing, but you had something come up when you were a teenager, and they can make it look even worse, and so you'd be destroyed, your family would be destroyed, you would never get to work again. So, one way or another, it's probable that they would join the old boys network, as we used to call it. Big Brother, as it's called by George Orwell. You couldn't get it closer. Seeing what's going on in New York City. Shout out to Cash Jordan. He's a good guy. Y'all need to look him up and like, subscribe. It's a good guy. He's a good guy. And he's been reporting now what's going on with the migration situation. They have 4,000 refugees in one of two sections. And I guess they converted old warehouses. And it's the worst crime area there is, that even the stores have had to close because they were just going en masse and taking what they wanted. And yet they're giving money on their little cards. I mean, they all have phones, they all have cigarettes, they all have mopeds. Some of them are doing for Grubhub. There's like 4,000 of them in just a couple block area. So people are being robbed and molested, raped, murdered, and so forth. And they're just pushing this on the rise. That's why I say Cash Jordan is a good guy to go to. And this is probably why my section was taken down, because I had mentioned these things. If you really want to know what's going on, I found it apropos. Escape from New York. It's a movie. You got to see it. Especially those of you who live in New York. If you can see me, hear me, whatever, get the movie Escape from New York. Probably get on Netflix. I got Netflix. I'll have to check and see, but you can leave a comment if you couldn't find it. Now I'll send you a thread. It's perfectly apropos as to what's happened to New York. New York was blindsided by the buses arriving, both from the southwest border and from the northeast border, just throwing them in there. There was, and they were allowed to come in. They welcomed them, and that's a very nice thing. It really is. This isn't, however, 1892, and there's not room for an extra 40 million people in New York City, especially when they tend to close every avenue, every business, every store. All the people, those who had money, left. I wonder how Trump Towers is doing sometimes. I really do. It's on the high end, but its day will come as well. Again, I'm going to refer people back to the movie Escape from New York. It is it's almost prophetic. This movie in the '80s. This is an old movie. Uh, who's in there? Is that Kurt Russell? I can't remember the young man who's the main figure. Upshot is the president has had to escape from a plane from terrorists, and his pod lands in New York City, which is now a police, not even just police, it's a prison completely engulfing New York City. You can't get out, you can't get in. However, the president apparently shoot it at, so he gets in. So they want to get in there, but they know it's a war. Literally, it would be a war, and there's no telling who would win. Plus, if you're losing as you're going in, these guys are going out, and so this is why they keep them contained. I think it's Kurt Russell, but they bring in an expert from apparently the city, a guy from jail, and they tell him, "You can have your life back. You don't have to go to jail if you could bring the president in 3 days." Meanwhile, as they had gotten him and putting him in front of this guy, they had shot something in his neck, and then the guy said, "Then if you can get him in 3 days," and of course the actress says, "Why 3 days?" And it's, well, that's when your head will blow up if you don't come back with the president. This bomb goes off in your head. We just stuck that in there. That little tiny, yeah, that was us. And so he runs through a apocalyptic New York where everything and everybody is trying to kill you. And I do mean everything and everybody that they could conceivably invent is in that movie. But the hero, of course, perseveres and comes out with the president and manages to keep his head from being blown off. So that's the good ending. I'm looking at the ending they really got now, and it's not so cheery. So, at the risk of going overboard as far as YouTube is concerned, if you have questions, if you'd like to continue this topic, let me know. Put it in the comments, like, chats, share with your friends, just what the hell ever. I'd like to piss them off at this point and have a whole bunch of followers because right now I don't have that many. But when I seen how many they were taking down, I was like, well, either I'm hitting home on some of this shit or they're bored stupid and they're arresting an old woman. I tend to think it's the former rather than the latter, but yeah, it's everybody's own opinion. So, yeah, right. Which is, it's, yeah, I'm still a little hot under the collar, even if it's a new collar. I love these things. And I got a new dress. It's so cute. I call them skater dresses, and you see how I go from one topic to another, right? I'm hoping to keep them confused. So I call them skater skirts because it's like they say Lucy Ball of the 50s. It's those type dresses. And you do wear the crinoline underneath to pull out the skirt, but it still has that layered look. I call it cupcake. I believe that's what they call it if you're wearing it for a bridal gown. But they go to mid calf, and this I just got a new one, and I love these things. I had already gotten the houndstooth, the black skirt, black lapel, and so that went over really well when I wore it on my birthday. And I like these vintage dresses. I must have 2 closets full by now. And I saw another one. I had to have it. And I'm being silly. I know. I'd already ordered this and the other gown. And about a week ago, and usually it takes 4 to 6 weeks. And I guess maybe I spent too much money. I'm getting mine in about 10 days. Cindy Quick, she's going to come back. And everything I've ever gotten from these companies have been perfect. And yet I've ordered from Walmart, and oh my God. Yeah, don't order your clothes or your shoes. It's a nightmare. Don't do that. Not with Walmart. With the company I'm referring to, feel free, and we'll cross our fingers because I can't say that they won't have a mistake. It's possible. I've, like I said, been going through them for many years now. And again, the vintage look is a thing. I think that all of us in our 60s, women in particular, should throw that at least once a week into our wardrobes. For me, I don't go very far. I go to Walmart, Kroger, what have you, all within a 2-mile radius, so 5 miles round trip. I don't drive 50 miles a month, and I quit driving altogether in the evenings. I've had double eye surgery, and I think it's the height of hubris to go, oh, I can still drive. No, you can't. You do not want to kill yourself or others. You might want to kill yourself, but you really ought not to kill others. So Yeah. So many years ago, I quit driving at night. And my poor husband, who is a truck driver at heart, period. He was a truck driving instructor and so forth the last decade. But he's been driving them for, God, like both of us, been doing this 40, 50 years or more, and never had tickets or what have you. If he did, they were when he was in his 20s, and he's almost 70. So at some point, you'd think the insurance company would go, "You paid 14,500 this year. Was that this year? Well, we can give you back 50 because you've been." And again, don't want to go there because we wouldn't want to piss off the lobbyists and our lovely government. I don't know. There's also, to me, a massive sense of hubris when a political party that's already been in the top position for 4 years and before for the president, another 8 years with President Obama. So you're looking at 12 years or so. And they go, well, we're going to do this. When was that? Okay, you want to win again? You didn't do that. Yeah, hands? Anybody confused? Right. What the hell? And this is probably why they took it down. Why the hell are you waiting? You gonna do that? Do that. You might not be there in 3-4 months. Do that. We're going to take the burden off of this. And we're going to, food costs 3 times as much. No shit, Sherlock. Get off the can and tell us what the hell you're doing. Don't sit there and lie and say you're going to get to it. You never did get to it. In the president's offense, instead of defense, his offense is he's been there 50 years. He hasn't done squat. And again, I'd make YouTube angry by saying the truth. So, from what I understand, they're wanting to also put Tommy Robinson back in jail in the UK because he's been up there saying the same thing I am. Really, when you told these people they could come, you give them free food, lodging, free everything, clothes, and these are Nikes and good stuff. I don't have that shit. I have to pay for my stuff. They don't give it to me. But the migrants down the street have them. The girls with the handkerchief look. Yeah, I love the letterbox is good. But they have a problem in my country. Send them the hell back. This is again what pissed them off. So I'll change topics. Don't come to a country that you don't want to be in. I've been to many countries, and I tried to learn at least enough of their language to be understood to say, I'm sorry I'm mangling your language, but I speak English. Europe teaches their kids just like us here in the United States. In high school, you have to pick a second language. Well, in Europe, it's different. You have to speak English. You have to learn to speak English. Though it's not your first language, you can speak it very well. In some cases, better than like mayors of Thornton Township. Another one I probably shouldn't bring up. Thornton Township is where I graduated high school the first time as a junior. And then I went and got bored when my parents retired, and I'm waiting to go active duty Army. So I graduated a second time just for fun. Just I had nothing else to do. There was nothing in that little city. I think there was a post office, but I'm not quite sure. Nothing in that place. It's like a town of 400 people. It was ridiculously small. I couldn't believe they had a high school. So I'm an adopted kid. They adopted me when I was 9. We were also foster kids. We'd been fostered for several homes. The last home we were fostered at, they adopted us. My sister 7, me 9. Yeah, I was reading college level by 9. So, yeah, you couldn't hide too much from me. And I kept telling them, my name is not Holmes. It's this, that, the other. I mean, my name is Holmes, but not this or this. And they kept saying, no, it's not. Yes, it was. I finally found out they found me. Just because they find you, people don't run to that door and open it. Just as a warning, it could be a bad, bad thing. I done got off my track again. So we'll just skip that one for now. I might come back around. At the same time, my mind is racing 100 miles a minute going, okay, I really want to keep the channel up. It's not only because it's free. It's not because it's free. I want to keep the channel up because I think we all should be up here, like I said, saying something about what the hell's going on. I think they also got angry at me because I said, when you said you would take all these people on, you didn't say, send me the rich ones. You didn't specify for the 14 million every 6 months or whatever coming in. I don't mean just the United States. I mean the United Kingdom. I mean Germany, France, Italy, Spain, everybody, except those who are of Muslim extraction. They don't take them at all, which is again alarming. Should go ding ding ding. Something's not right here. So they may take this one down too. I hope not. I try to find it funny, and I feel for these people, but at the same time, I'm not stupid enough to stand there and go, "Well, the only thing you're going to be able to do in New York is be a prison because they've closed down everything else. People can't walk down the street because now they choke them out and take their wristwatch. They were hitting laundromats. I mean, then they started taking whole apartment blocks, but that's not the main news. If you still have news, and I don't think that you do, we have now supposed to be satellite news. It's satellite political channels. When they're up there talking about who's going to win the race and why the hell they think they're so important enough to be talking about anything, it's supposed to be important as shit. But they up there telling us what they think about the shit, and everybody else is wrong. And again, they may take this down. I'd also pointed out the Electoral College is what votes in the American president. The vice president's brought in, just a fait accompli. There's no point in you going to the polls to vote because the delegates have already voted for you. How do they know which way you're going to vote? Ask magic, I guess, because y'all have been doing it for decades. Literally decades. You might get an extra delegate for your state. I don't see how that helps our vote, but go ahead. I'm not standing out in the cold, the rain, the heat. Why? There's no point. Google it, unless they change that. Bing it. I don't care. It's the truth. And there's usually a live broadcast on the night that the Electoral College votes, the delegates for each state. That's why they go, well, Pennsylvania is a blue state. We got to win that. Didn't you ever wonder? That's a tiny little state. Why is that so important? Well, that's why. There's only so many delegates to vote. So if you don't get what they call the blue or the red states that habitually vote for one party or another, then you can lose the race because those delegates, again, are already done. You know basically what state's going to vote which way. I don't know why, but they do. Then they have the swing states, as they call them, which are just, right there on the cusp of it going, well, we might fall this way or that way. And so they go and stroke their backs. But you have the die hard political parties that this one's Democrat, this one's Republican, whatever. And that's why it's so important that you vote only on those two parties, even though they apparently did get a Tea Party in. I would love to vote for that if it counted, but it doesn't, so I don't bother to go. As far as your local and so forth government, well, in Georgia, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the law is concerned, pretty much bad people. They are not there. They're there to make money, like gobs and gobs of money. It's just bad, which is why I was speaking about Thornton Township, where I once graduated. The mayor out there supposedly has spent all of the budget for Dalton County or for Dalton City and for Thornton Township. She holds a position in both, with Thornton Township being the mayoral. And again, this girl, she's been having a good time. Clothes, makeup, hair. She had to have staff suddenly to do her persona, I guess. Um, she started doing the giveaways and all this stuff because she wanted to keep that job. It's the same thing as the lobbyist and so forth. She just has been called out about it. I can't remember her name offhand, but it's under Thornton Township. And I graduated, like I said, out of Thornton Township. So as soon as I heard it, I was like riveted. I was like, what? And she's managed to bankrupt both places, both their little cities. Basically, it started as a subdivision, if I can remember correctly, around 9. That's when they got the house. They got paid by the government, 100 apiece for each kid. They adopted myself and my sister, so that paid the mortgage. Yeah, we were happy to help. So I started working at 9. So, yeah. And this is why I was pointing out that local people in government generally are not lily white. Generally, you don't know shit about them, and generally they're as corrupt as the day is long, from the top to the bottom. And then you go on to the federal government. Well, they don't like it when we say shit like that. So maybe they were entertained by the first half of the show and they could just cut that out. But this is why I also mentioned that I was going to spend less time on YouTube and maybe more time on Facebook, or vice versa. I can't tell which one I want to give more time to because one of them is really lacking. At the moment, I do this more than I do on Facebook. And I had posted for our birthdays and anniversaries last month. Yeah, it's a big weekend. Yeah, I had done all that. Let's see. I talked to you about the new skirt. Well, it's a skater skirt, nice little dress, got the white lapels. It's a gray with a very thin check print. It's really cute, matching belt. I love these, and I get these, and then I'll end up going to the store at one point, and I get in my closet. I go, which one have I not worn to this place? And it's like a reputation that I carry because many of the cashier ladies will say, it's like old home week. Hey, Wanda, what you wearing today? Where'd you get? And they ask me that all the time, and yet none of them have. And I tell them, and they're not expensive. They're not $139 or anything. Sometimes I can get it for 18, and I'm willing to wait that time to get them in. And the blouse was like $8. It's really lovely. And I looked at some locally here, and oh my God, they wanted to have a house to get one of these, and it was nothing to it. Yeah, I love that. I've been there so long, I have free delivery, so it's a win-win for me. I'm just paying tax, which is exorbitant. What kind of a country has two taxes on death? Ours. Did you know that? Yeah, there's two death taxes now. I'm hoping to deliver the second one personally. I digress. And I run around my elbow to get to my arse as well. So again, I don't know if I'll be back for a day or two. Finish off my little stiffener. Quick thing on stiffener. My parents were of the World War II era, and ladies would faint. I've never been able to faint. But if they got bad news, the kid got hurt, they could faint, and then they got a stiffener. Because women just generally did not drink. The men drank a lot of beer. Now I'm thinking they might not like that either. I love these. This is one of my steel cups of my lovely son. If you can see it. There you go. My son and my daughter-in-law bought me for, I think it was on Mother's Day. I don't know. Because Mother's Day seemed almost to crash into birthday and Christmas. And my son knows I'm fairly picky about that. You better at least have a card. I'm your mother. So he's always bought me a lovely gift. I don't care if it's 50 cents. It's a lovely gift because he went to the trouble to do so. And even now, he's 45 and he's not getting younger, but he's not getting any calmer either. He's very calm. He just plods right on through. He doesn't seem to turn a hair. I love that in him. And he holds on both he and his wife hold nice positions, and even beyond my limit as far as clearance would go. So I'm proud of both of them. I was around when they were paying for college by working and so forth, and working two jobs or what have you. A couple of times they lived with us, and we bought their starter home so they could buy a brand new home, big home over in another subdivision. But they wouldn't finance it for them unless they did this one. They had to kind of let go of one to get the other, and they were just about to have a baby, and his son was 13, so it was a nice surprise. And she is gorgeous. She's so smart. She's taller than me. Excuse me. I mean, her dad's not tall, although it's in his gene group. His father was a little over 6 foot. My son's like 5'10", I think, 5'9", 5'10". He hates that. I don't know why. He's a very confident young man. And so anyway, their daughter, she's just beautiful. She wouldn't make Brooke Shields blush. She just has that natural beauty, and I worry constantly. Every time, in particular, I keep hearing about two mass shootings in high schools already this year. So I'm not happy. I'd like to know why. When I was going to Thornton Township High School, that was what it was called. Look up that name. Um, it was bulletproof. The windows, it was steel doors that would lock you in, and we had different buildings for different things. We even had pool because we had swimming lessons and so forth from the Red Cross. So we had a women's pool and a men's pool. So all these are in different buildings, and they would just lock them down. You're stuck. Basically, that was the shelter in place. Although they didn't use that terminology, and you could shoot all day long. You weren't getting through the steel. You weren't getting through the bulletproof glass, and you weren't getting out so that you'd be a target wherever you was. If they were already in there with you, you could still close off the classroom. So either they stayed and killed everybody in one classroom, or they couldn't do any more harm. And we never had a problem after that. We had our own police force, um, almost like a college campus, but these guys were there. Um, you know, we didn't have book bags either. You carried your books to and from and home and so forth, and they were heavy. And we didn't carry book bags. Never heard of them. They used to carry them with a strap. Some of them we didn't do that either. You had to buy the strap from somebody in Chicago. My parents shot from the catalog, Monkey War, pennies, and all that. So, they just didn't have those items back then. And they still locked us down. And if a section was going through a problem where they locked in the perpetrator, however, they would flood it with tear gas. And everybody in there is throwing up, can't see, yada yada. And that would stop an attacker if we'd had one. We did have a couple of knifings before that program is instituted, and this is middle 90s or middle 70s rather. So I'm apropos, but why they haven't utilized this in these schools? And we had a mass shooting just uh, I don't know, a week or two ago, maybe three, at Winder, Georgia. Killed two students, killed two faculty. And it turns out the weapon given to him, a automatic, I think they're calling them long guns now. I can't recall which one he had. His father had bought it for him. And so his father was arrested and charged with murder as well. And I've been saying throughout these is that where did the kid get the weapon? If they stole it from their parents, the parents should be held responsible. I've always carried a weapon since I went in the military. I didn't have one before then, never thought I would. But I've carried one since then for obvious reasons. I might be able to save somebody besides myself. You can't wait for a police officer, especially the way the world is now. They're not going to run to your ass. They're getting shot. They're getting set up. They're getting 911 calls. And when they arrive, before they get out of the car, they're shot in the head. So this is stupid, but this is what's happening. New York is another one that's real bad. Seattle. Look at Detroit. It looks like something out of the 1940s, like Berlin in the 1940s in the black and white. There was a couple of stones left. I mean, they didn't leave shit standing on top of each other. They didn't leave nothing behind. They couldn't. Or they'd be dead. There'd be a picture movement. You get front and back. You can't do that. You couldn't take a prisoner for a long time because you just couldn't. You're fighting house to house, hand to hand. How are you going to take a prisoner around with you? You can't. World War II was something. I'll tell you what. That's why they called it a world war. You can get my drive. Afghanistan is where you break nations. Of course, we had to be there for 20 years. Why? I guess we wanted to make sure that they got that airport. Reminded me of Saigon. It was horrible watching those kids jump on those wings and then die falling off. It was horrific. It really was. So I was watching three of our Marines die from a book pack bomb the night before they withdrew completely. I was still angry about that. It did slow down a little bit. That's why they have a stiffener. But I'm going to have to dash. I see my time is almost up. If there's a certain topic you want to talk about, tell me. We'll talk about that. I'll drop the video if you'd like. I find that to be a bit plagiaristic. I hate to go to somebody else's website and pull, I don't know, ghost footage, and then drop it and be reacting to it, or how'd you like this one? And plus, if you did do that, the best thing you can do is say, okay, go here and make sure you like or dislike, join, subscribe. And again, that just obviously tells you that this isn't probably the right way to go about doing your own website. Again, it's in the description. I talk about anything and everything with anybody and everybody. I mean, we're all the same. I don't care what this skin tone thing is about either. If you need a blood transfusion, they don't look around for somebody who's white or somebody who's brown or somebody who's purple. They look for the blood type, but that's all. So it's ridiculous for people to be going, oh, you're white, you don't count. Oh, you're black, you don't count. Oh, you're Hispanic, you don't count. What? Stop it. Just in case they take this down again. Tommy Robinson is also somebody to follow. UK does, and is actively looking for him now to put him back in jail. They keep jailing this man. He's doing the same thing that I do, although he's got a good following. I don't. And I don't cross as many lines as he does, but I can understand where he's coming from. You have to put both sides out there. You can't just say, oh, marching the Palestinians by, stopping London traffic, literally, and an ambulance had to turn around and go back and try to find another way to get to the hospital because they were on lockdown in the streets to make sure the Palestinians, protesters, could go by. An ambulance. London. It's too late. When they manage to get terrorist nations, and they can take that down all they want, that's what they are, on the UN, and they address the UN in their first speech to the fact that they intend to wipe out every Jewish person they can, and they intend to establish Sharia law worldwide. Right there in their acceptance speech. So why has the UN got terrorist nations on their board? They can get angry if they want to about that one and take this down. It doesn't change the fact. You can't put lipstick on a pig, and it ain't going to be pretty. It's still going to be a blooming pig. So I don't care how they dress that up. Again, I cannot stress the point that this is social Woodstock. Get up here before nobody has an opinion. If they do, they're not allowed to state what it is. You're not going to be able to find free programs like this forever. YouTube blocked off, I think it was just last year, into a side channel where you pay so much prescription, like you do the others, and you all get specific benefits. So I don't see that this media is going to be accessible to many of us for much longer. So, contact me, throw in a comment. Tell me if you didn't like it. Tell me what you would like to talk about. Are you worried about the migrants that have come? Because they probably weren't the top of the cream. They were probably the bottom feeders, the murderers, the rapists, the thieves. And that's what New York City has in abundance. Check out Cash Jordan. Hey, guy, I don't ordinarily emboss anybody out here. But I do think that if you want to know about a city being taken over by these asylum seekers, as they're now called, that's a good place to start. And London is as well. There, people are dying. People are afraid to go out. There's no stores open because they've mobbed them all many times until they just quit and just closed it down. I think there's still a Costco, but everything is metal to metal. It's all locked down. So because you can, what are you going to do when 30 people come in, they're masked, they're hooded, and they just take your stuff en masse? I mean, it became like a syndicate thing or a mob thing. I don't know what you would call these things, but it's evil and it's terrifying, and it's really happening in particular. And those two cities are a good example. I'm one of those who will state that this is still a pig. You put lipstick on it, but I got to tell you, didn't fool me. It's still a pig. So basically, the bottom line to me is it's still terrorist. If you kill 3 little girls by stabbing them to death, and you say it's not a terrorist action, I hate that, and I beg to differ with you. I'm guessing that those 3 little girls were terrified, and died terrified. They died, ages 6 to 9 years old. Uh, yeah, they were terrified. The people that were there that did make it through were also mortally wounded in the girls' cases. Other children and other teachers were also wounded. Uh, I believe the one woman teacher lost her life shielding the children with her own body, and they weren't able to save her. One of the gentlemen who was attacked as well was, thank the heavens, able to come home finally. And yet, no one was supposed to call that a terrorist attack. And this is something else that this was in the UK. Um, and it's something else that Tommy Robinson had talked about. I've talked about it. And I think that the rioting and looting things, that's not the right way to go. You don't go and protest somebody else who's doing that and then do the same thing. You have to have a peaceful protest for one, just to make sure you're heard. I can understand that. But you don't go along and commit all these acts of horrific theft and vandalism while protesting those who are doing the exact same thing. And that's not helping those three little girls who passed on. It's not helping their families. It's not helping the families of those who went through it and survived. So that kind of anger, just stay home. Stay home. Use this. Get up there and make your voice heard. Come to people like my show. It's not a great show, but it's a show. If you don't want to do your own, you're more than welcome to come up here and live chat with me. I would love to actually do it, a FaceTime with anyone who wants to come out and say, this is not what we need. This is what we should do, or maybe somebody should do something in the political arena to address the concerns of the people. And that is, I think, where I'll leave it today. Hopefully, they won't get angry at me. There's not too much salty language. And I'm not saying that every asylum seeker is a bad guy. I'm saying that if you got one bad guy in 1,000, you got one too many. And you got to acknowledge the fact that that's a possibility. You can't, like I said, put lipstick on that pig and think it's going out to dinner with you. It's still a pig, either way you look at it. So go out there, be real, folks, be real. Help those who need it. Love each other, your neighbors, and everybody else, because we are one and the same. We're all human. If there's something that we disagree with, we should be able to speak of it. Again, come see me, put your own webcast up. However, we want to do it, we still want to use this as a medium of social Woodstock and to keep sure that our voices are heard, not silenced, not persuaded to do something different. Although I have stated 4 or 5 times that this is indeed a different broadcast. Again, I'm going to go with peace out, guys. Be kind.